Hello, welcome to another video. My name is Chris Kylie, and in this video I have made a little trip to whole Tyria to find cool places and hotspots where we can get our materials. I am not a grinding person. I don't like to hang out for hours in one map to get all materials like the stone, wood and plants and kind of stuff. For a homestead we need like a lot of resources, and I was like, okay, how can I make the grinding part a little bit more fun for myself, because what I say, I just don't like to run around in one map to find every little piece I can find to loot. So I thought, why not make a sort of vacation trip to Tyria. Now summer is coming as well, to find the hot spots, the cool spots, but also maybe less familiar spots where you can find a lot of good materials. I really like the homesteads, but for some reason it is quite expensive and we need a lot of weird materials sometimes for getting cool furniture. And this is like more like the basic items we can need, because you can transfer the currency from your materials that you get from this. Get your suitcase, get your bag, and we're going to on a little trip together. Thank you so much for watching. Let's start. The first stop is Grothmar Valley. Grothmar Valley, we're just going to the north. There is like a little garden over here with some vegetables, sometimes in stone, and even this special pepper plant that you can find in this map. If you want it, you can find it here too. The next stop is Drizzlewood Coast, where we have two little points, but first making our way to Port Cascadia. I thought like when I was going to here you also find like a lot of plants, sometimes trees, that is quite neat. And when we are in Port Cascadia we go underwater where you can find like a lot of other plants. When this is done, we can take our roller beetle to all the way off the left side of this map, where we're going to the Leafwood Valley. There on the top of the mountain you also have like always the same kind of plants waiting for you to loot. The next stop is Lowlands Shore. The Lowlands Shore is of course one of the maps where you can harvest like really much and get your loot. I did this for hours before and I got really bored, so now we just stop here for a little place area. The harvest, then cross over the bridge. Get all these little plants over here. Sometimes there's a tree too. And then I also like to grab my sky skill and go to this grape. There's a lot of grapes. And we've taken the plane again to Queensdale and to the area Beetleton Farm. I think this is a really iconic place to stop by, but we also find like a lot of nice salads and other plants over here. Sometimes you can also find some more here and there in the fields a little bit further. I try to go quickly as I can. Next stop is Brisban Wildlands. This is more like where we can find a lot of stone. Most of the time they are hidden between the walls of this ground. Sometimes you can also find some upstairs or above the ground. The next stop is Dry Top. Dry Top is such one of my favorite places actually, just because it was like of course the first new map we got way back in time. It was all the hype up for the Heart of Thorns, so it feels really fun to loot here too. Now we're going to the Uplands Oasis. I think also a more familiar spot to get your edgies. But there are like a lot of different ones, so it is always nice to stop here too. Then of course we cannot skip this one. We're going to Verdant Brink, the start of the Maguma jungle, or at least the start of the Heart of Thorns area. We're going down here and just follow this river where you can find a lot of new plants, but sometimes the variation can be different. Sometimes you find way more and sometimes it's a little bit less. I really like to take this river. When we have followed this river, we go to the left and then we continue with this little river, or can you call it a river, this little water thing, and then this is also collect. And then we go into the Azura, the Metrica Province. This is like a really fun part, I must say. I was not coming here much often, but now I really like this area. We have like a sort of floating platform where you can find a lot of potatoes, a lot of patatas. And when we have looted this, you can also go like a little bit more to the south where you have a cave, and sometimes you find like 5 or 6 other stones you can easily loot there over too. But they also are respawned every time different. Then we're going to the Caledon Forest. This is also like just a bit more of explore. First we're going to Sandy Cove Peak. Just take the waypoint and travel like side of the walls of this mountain. This is also a place where all the stones will really look different. Sometimes they are like really lined up, sometimes they're a little bit like chaotic. But I always like to go here, walk a little bit and find some stone here and there. When we have done this, we go into the north of the Caledon Forest, taking a waypoint to the Rowan Woods, and here you just have always the same vegetables to find. If we are done over this side, we're going a little bit more back. We're going to Lion's Arch. I would say I have never noticed this was a place over here. It's like a little field all the way on the left on the mountain as well. So grab your sky skill and just fly over there. It is really easy. You don't have to travel too hard for this, so that is fun. Then we're going just to the portal, or you can take the waypoint. Verdant Fields, Cornucopian Fields. And I like to take the Apple Nook Almond waypoint. So we are a bit more north of this field. Sometimes you can find them here on the fields or a little bit more around this area. So just grab your mounts to be a little bit faster if you don't like to waste time. But they are also night veggies and sometimes trees and other stuff to find. What I also like to do, but optional, go to those other little places on these fields. Like this little place, Gavin Cave with a lot of stone. Then the next stop is Harathi Hinterlands, going to the Kourna Woods. This is like a really cute little place where we actually have a sort of hidden garden, they say. Over here you just have to pass the door. Hopefully you will not get much trouble with the bandits, but hey, a little bit of a challenge is always fun. That is why I play as a thief, because I can get like invisible a lot of times, so that makes it a bit more easier for me. The next stop is Frostgorge Sound, and we're going through the Jackington Stall. You can like travel a little bit more to the south. Sometimes you found here and there another pile to loot. This is like an open field with some vegetables to find, but there are always enemies here. So this is a little bit more of a little gameplay how you can get your crops without spending too much time with dealing with them. Next stop is Diessa Plateau, how you want to call it. Town of Nolan. This is like a super cute hidden garden. We just go a little bit more to this corner where you can find a tunnel. If you enter this tunnel and you go out of it at the other side, you found this like little secret garden with strawberries. I don't think it will take that much time of your life, and it is like a really cute area to see anyway. And in the same map we go into the Blessed Moors, Bandit Ruins. This is a place where you also have like more variation. Most of the time there are a lot of stones, but the stones are always respawned on other locations in this little place. So sometimes they are up the ruins, sometimes you have to go inside the ruins. And I don't know, I really like to walk here for some reason. I think it is also more like old school back in the days, right? Feeling a little bit still of the old lore hanging around over here, what I really enjoy. And actually a good stop for our trip. Then we go to the Blazerigde Steppes. This is like a release, like hidden in the corner. Sometimes there's an event over here, but a lot of times when I go here, it's just safe and you really can easily loot your crops. And you can walk further or take this waypoint. And this little area is the Tyria Kararunda. And I really like to take my roller beetle or the other mounts to walk here in a sort of a circle. And this is like, for example, a really good place where you also can feel the variation of the looting stuff. Like most of the time there are a lot of stones. Sometimes you find special plants here and there, but also a tree you can chop. It's just some fun, cute little area where you can make a circle. Sort of, not every time. Going like a little bit further, going to Or, and I think this is a really famous place to stop on your vacation, Malchor Sleep. I think this is also a map where you can run around for hours to find every tree, stone and plant, but I was just stopped here on two places too. Arts Plains, here you find, just if you walk or travel to your right on the map, a lot of stone, plants and all kind of stuff. And if we go a little bit further, go into the Theater of Delight, and then more to the left, you'll find like a lot of trees always standing in this beautiful circle. And sometimes I like to check out here underwater. This is sort of secretly hidden cave. Sometimes they're always spouting. Now in this case I didn't have much, but I also have times there were like 5 or 6 piles of stone to loot for me. This is also a good place to check out sometimes. Our next location, the Crystal Oasis. We're going from that to the sun. Bay of Island, a moon waypoint. If you want to spend more time, you can run around in these kind of open fields. There are always plants to find and some trees, but most of the time I just really like to go to this corner. Underwater you have also this little stack of all underwater plants to chop for you. Next one is the Desolation. We're going more to the south now. The Bone Strand, I think also quite famous one. We will not forget this one. Here on the open fields you can also find here and there some stuff to loot, but if you go a little bit further there's always this little field of crops too. It's also a bit more spicy because there are more enemies and they hitting you a little bit harder than some other enemies we have seen today, so we can spice up our little farming travel a little bit sometimes. Then we're going to the Isles, Sandswept Isles, super famous spot to loot because there's a lot to find and always standing here for you. The ruined path, you can find a lot over here too. And what I also like is going to the southern point of this map where we just can sort of follow this water slowly upwards. It feels nice to use sort of all of your mounts as well. Gives a bit more of a variation in what you can do. The next stop is Jahai Bluffs. This is also a more spicy one. I think this is one that you have to travel the most in this map, but if you just use your roller beetle, it will not take that long. And then we're going to Jungle Anomaly. The first time I came here, it was super fun, also quite cool. Such an interesting environment if you see where it is placed, so that makes it more fun to go, and you can find a lot of plants here and there. But again, the enemies are in your way, so you have to be quick. We're almost going to the end, but first, Domain of Kourna, the open fields, the Ark-Jok farmlands. Actually one I got from my community. He was always going to this spot and since then I really like to go here too. It was a sort of a forgotten garden for me. I really don't like Domain of Kourna. But now I get a little bit more connected again with this map just to loot here. Going to all the way to the south, to the coolest maps of the whole Grothmar world. Seitung Province, one of the most beautiful maps ever. And then we go to Seitung Harbor. Going a little bit further in the village, you'll find this open gardens with a lot of kind of stuff to loot, different kind of plants to see, and it just looks really beautiful. We're going to the big city, New Kaineng City, and we're taking Ministry Reward waypoint, and then we have to walk to this portal. You take the Ministry Rewards Eastern Gardens, and then you get up on this building. On this building you have like a sort of city garden, but actually you can find a lot of trees over here, so this is a really good tree farm if you look for more wood. I definitely recommend to go here, and again you have a pretty cool view as well. The last stop will be Echovald Wilds. Always will say Echovald Forest, and we're taking the place to Queensdale Basin. We just follow the water, and in the corner you'll find your last little bit of veggies. This was like my little trip. There are just 24 points to stop, so I don't think it's too much, but it's also like long enough to at least get a little bit of loot, right? It was a nice sort of trip going from north to south, different kind of places, maps. I really enjoy to travel to these things. My last little tip, what also can be a really good idea to get your materials, is just play world versus world. Every time you go to these little bases, castles, areas that of buildings you can control, you also find always these like looting pots. They are always a bit different, random, but if you just like play world versus world, don't forget to loot them too, because you can also get like a lot of good stuff out of there. Yay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this kind of video. I at least had really fun to make this one because it makes me a bit more exciting to loot and to grind here and there. Like if you just enjoy this game and you like to see the maps, then it is already a win for you. I hope you all have a good somewhere, of course. Thank you so much for being here. I also make other YouTube videos, but also I'm streaming on Twitch. Feel free to stop by, of course. Thank you so much for being here, and until the next video, guys. Bye. Ciao, ciao.